But this is something that all of us can use to be more financially efficient, because we're going to show you how you can actually share files and integrate and collaborate and view files across an ocean without the cloud. And that's what this is all about. We have been conditioned to believe that we have to have the cloud in order to work, in order to collaborate with people. And we just realized maybe that's not true. So we're going to show you some really cool stuff. I've got 132 terabytes here on my OWC Thunder Bay. I've got camera cards from like Red cameras and 8K cameras like DXL. I've got short little jumper drives, hard drives, and USB sticks. Like these are all the types of media we all have on our desk. And the whole idea of the cloud that I think is flawed is that we're supposed to take all of this little media or this big media and somehow put it all in a cloud. It doesn't make any sense. How are we going to get all that in a cloud? Well, we got a better idea, and that is to allow you to be your own cloud. So I'm going to demonstrate that today. Before I do that, I want to talk about some of the people helping me do this. My brother and co-founders on the call. We've got Margot and Austin and Shannon. I gotta add Shannon to the slides here. She's critical in this too. So we got everybody here, and I am able to take your questions and comments. I have an iPad here. I can see your questions. So if you have questions about your workflow, about what I'm demonstrating, all that stuff, I can actually see that and respond to them. So Instagram, YouTube, Zoom, or LinkedIn, you can write questions and I can respond to them. So we're going to dive in. Now, I actually also have a YouTube a channel, the Strada Tech YouTube channel. We just released last week, episode 41. It's a really great episode for anybody that's got to market their product or market themselves or market their film. It's really great on these tricks about product marketing, but it's also a story about how we took our show, our product to NAB and showed it at the NAB show when we have very little money. And so it's really a David and Goliath story, how you can make a big impact when you have only a little money. And that's a really cool episode. So check that out. You can learn a lot. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. And then I have my little rant at the end about NAB, which I hope will be used to make NAB better. Wink, wink. Okay, so that's really cool. And then yesterday we dropped another episode, which we did a partnership. We were at an event with the company KeyCode. KeyCode is an amazing systems integration company. They also are resellers. They also are workflow experts and consultants. And they are some of the best in really hard workflows, especially nonfiction workflows like shows like Deadliest Catch. These guys know how to do that stuff. And they had an event, and we were at the event, and they had me on a panel. And I was on this panel with some really smart people, really great workflow experts. And we just released the panel on our YouTube channel. It's an hour long. It is full of great discussion. This was such a fun panel to be on. The questions from Jeff Singpeel, he's the guy in the purple there, were awesome. And it was just a really powerful, exciting event. And so you can watch that on YouTube. There's absolutely stuff to learn. And there's really good insight in there. So I recommend you check that out. Look, for a lot of people, if you're struggling in the market, you've got to research and you've got to work and you've got to get the insight that's out there so you can plan and make really pragmatic decisions. If you're new to the industry, you need to learn. You got to get all this information. It's changing so fast. These are the resources where people come together. I learn things sitting on these panels, and some people will be like, why do Michael, people ask me the questions, but I have to do the research too. I have to learn, and I got to put myself out there and question my own thoughts and question my own judgment and second guess certain ideas. And so this is an example where that can happen, and it can really inspire you to come up with your own conclusions and make good decisions based on that. Okay, so let's get into Strada a little bit. Oh, I went one slide too far. So we are here to talk about being your own cloud. Now, here's something funny. In this picture right here, this picture that shows be your own cloud, hopefully everybody can see it. The problem is when we launched the product, which was April 4th, so about 5-6 weeks ago, we launched a product. People thought that drive there on the left, this drive down here, people thought This was a specific hardware appliance that Strada was making hardware that you had to buy to turn into a cloud. No, that is not what we're doing. That was an accident. This is just a SanDisk. It used to be called a G-RAID, the G-Tech company. This is just an 8 terabyte Thunderbolt RAID. And you can connect any drive, including 8 terabyte Thunderbolt RAIDs, but you can collect big ones or small ones or USB sticks. It doesn't matter. You can connect them all. And the technology with Strada is that every drive you connect into Strada can become a cloud, and then you can share it. It's in principle, it's really easy. In technology, as our engineers will testify, it's really hard. So we are trying to do something really hard and make it as dependable and reliable as the cloud. But here's the benefit. There's no cloud storage. Why does that matter? Well, it matters for a few reasons. See, the problem with the cloud starts with, why is the cloud great? The cloud is great when it comes to watching video. If you are watching video on YouTube or Netflix, big and small, TikTok, Apple TV Plus, whatever, these are great tools to share final outputs. When you have your final edit or the story you want to tell, the cloud is amazing. You can't beat it. But the cloud was never really built to work with video. When you have 100-to-1 shooting ratio or a 500-to-1 shooting ratio, you can't put all that in the cloud. And I'll ask you a question. When was the last time you played a raw file in the cloud? Never. You've never played a raw file in the cloud because you can't do it, right? Like, that's one of these problems is you can't just play raw files in the cloud. So where are your raw files? They're on a RAID somewhere. They're on some hard drive somewhere, or they're spread across a bunch of hard drives, or they're living on the camera cards and stuff like that. This is where your raw files are. And when your raw files are living here, they're not in the cloud, so you can't access them. And we learned that access to your media is the biggest problem for all workflows, just getting access. And what we do is we shuttle drives around, we pick them up, we drop them off, we make copies, or we try to upload parts of the files to the cloud or make proxies and upload them and share them. But my guess is everybody listening here has about 95% of your footage is on a hard drive somewhere and 5% of your footage is in a cloud somewhere. Does that sound familiar? How are you going to make this work in the future? If you're going to shoot petabytes of footage across your career, how are you going to have, where are you going to put it? Where's it going to go, right? It's not going to go in the cloud. A petabyte is going to cost $20,000 a month to rent because you can't buy it. And so this is a big problem. Look, these are the three things that are really bad for making video. One, your camera files are too big. We are constantly shooting files that get bigger and bigger. Cameras get better and better. Sensors get higher and higher resolution. And this just makes the camera files really big. Plus, people don't cut. We really have a bad habit of just rolling and rolling and rolling. That's fine, but it just makes the files even bigger. So that's a problem with the cloud. The second is most people's internet is too slow. In fact, the average bandwidth for upload speed in the United States is only 30 megabits per second. Now, that's a real problem for two reasons. One, upload speed for 30 megabits per second. 30 megabits is, there's not a camera that shoots 30 megabits. All cameras shoot more than 30 megabits. A lot of cameras shoot 1,000 megabits or 2,000 megabits per second. So that upload speed is not enough. Plus, the internet service providers, they prioritize download over upload. So download is always more bandwidth than uploading. That can be good if you want to download a file, but when you have to upload raw files or big files like ProRes, it's horrible. There's not enough bandwidth to do that. So the internet's too slow for cameras that are too big. And then the last one is cloud is just too expensive. Look, the cloud basically costs 40 times more per gigabyte than a hard drive. In other words, this is a, which one is this? This is a Sabrent nano rocket. I like these little guys because they got this little rubber case on them and they're lightweight and I can just beat them up. They're really great. This little Sabrent nano rocket is 40 times cheaper. This is 4 terabytes. This is 40 times cheaper than 4 terabytes in the cloud. That's a real difference. That's not like a little bit cheaper. It's a lot cheaper. That's why people buy these all the time. So these three problems on the screen are why video is failing in the cloud. And it's why you're paying for cloud storage. You're always being charged more. You're always being asked to add more costs to the cloud. and add more terabytes. And we just want to fix that. So we want you to be able to become your own cloud. That's what we want. And if you're going to be your own cloud, we've got to make that work. So how we're going to make that work, I'm going to show you today how it actually works. The first thing and the most important thing is this is free right now. What I'm going to show you today is free. You go to strada.tech and you download the agent. The agent is a little application that you're going to install. Now, you have to have an Apple Silicon computer. The M1 is the first computer that's technically supported, but the M1 is the lowest level of Apple Silicon. So you're better off with M2s, M3s, M4s. And it is May 13th right now. I think it's June 13th, like exactly 4 weeks from now, is WWDC, the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference. And at WWDC, there will be an announcement for the next level of Apple Silicon computers. We might get an M5, we might get an M4 Ultra, we'll see. Also, it probably means M3 computers will go down in price. And an M3 is an amazing machine, and it should go $500 off once they add the next layer, I'm guessing. But that's really, really exciting. So that's really, really good. So you end up installing the agent on your computer. And once you install the agent, you use these little check boxes and they turn drives into clouds. You just click a box and a drive becomes a cloud. It's that easy. It's really cool. And then you can log into a browser and you can access your files remotely. That is how Strada Agents works. Install the agent, log in, and it's free. And now you can see your files remotely. And so that's really what it's all about. And so I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now. To demonstrate that, I want to hide this. I want to show you first my desktop. So hopefully you can see my desktop. And you see right here, this is probably not going to be easy to focus on, but this is a little drive called My Name is Michael. It's got my name right here. And so I'm going to be able to plug that in. I've got a camera card here. I've got this Thunderbolt or Thunder Bay here from OWC. Now, if you look at my computer right here, you can see there's a Lucid Link account, and I've got a Thunder Bay, and of course, I've got my Mac hard drive. And in my Mac hard drive, I can actually share any of these files if I wanted to as well. So if I go to Michael and I wanted to share my Dropbox, watch this. Here is the agent. See the agent right here at the very top of my screen. Oh boy, Zoom is in the way. How am I going to move Zoom? Can I move Zoom? I can't move Zoom. Okay. This is the agent right there. And if I click on the agent, I'm logged in, and you can see here, I can see all the files on my computer. There's my Strada Dropbox. Remember, it can see, the agent can see everything on my system disk. So this top level here is my system disk. So if I want to share things to myself from my computer, I'm able to choose anything from my system disk, from my desktop or my Dropbox. Zach Wilkerson asks, is there a Strada integration with a QNAP server? Yes, you don't even need an integration. This Thunderbolt RAID from OWC is like a QNAP server. And I'll show you how to actually do this. It's going to work out of the box, Zach. You don't have to do anything as long as you've got Apple Silicon. Okay, so I could share my Dropbox, and you can see here the Thunder Bay, and you can see this is the Lucid Link account. So now the bottom half of my agent shows external connections. Again, the top is my system disk. That's the local disk of this computer. The bottom are my external connections. And I have the Thunder Bay. That's this big RAID right here. And I have this. This Strada is actually my Lucid Link file space. So you can see Strada is the name of my Lucid Link file space. And so when I look at the agent, when it says Strada here, that's the Lucid Link file space. So check this out. If I switch to my Strada account, you can see right there, Dropbox appeared. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. That's Dropbox. Dropbox appeared right there because I turned it on. Watch, if I turn this off, it disappears. And that quickly, if I want to reshare my Dropbox, I click that, and now I have access to my Dropbox, and I'm literally browsing my Dropbox in Strada, and I can look at files and start previewing those assets. Like that's literally happening. And I could do this anywhere in the world. Now, Dropbox is not that impressive because you're supposed to be able to do that with Dropbox. But what about the Thunder Bay? Remember, we have the Thunder Bay. Well, if I click the Thunder Bay, that quickly, the Thunder Bay shows up in Strada. Remember, if I uncheck the box, Thunder Bay is not turned into a cloud. If I want to turn it into a cloud, it's now a cloud. Zach, that is exactly how you would get your QNAP server to turn into a cloud. You simply connect your QNAP to the computer running the Strada agent, and you just connect that drive. And now I can turn on the Lucid Link. So now we see a Lucid Link connection here. And so if I click right here, I'm now browsing my Lucid Link and I'm playing back files off of Lucid Link through a web browser. You can't do that. If you're a Lucid Link user, you don't have a web browser to play back Lucid Link files. This is great because you've made it easy to browse everything in Lucid Link and play it back. Now look at this Thunder Bay. This is awesome. The Thunder Bay is 132 terabytes. This is the OWC Thunder Bay. I love these. 132 terabytes. Now, think of how big this is. Look, I have everything that we've ever made at Strada is on this Thunder Bay. So if I click in here and you can see I go to my episodes folder, I have all the episodes we've ever shot of the series, of our YouTube series. And I can click on these and go through every single directory and open those files up. You're hearing right now. And let me just turn the sound off and play that back. And now I'm able to do that. Hang on one second. This is one thing about Strada that's driving me nuts. There we go. Okay. So here we can see I'm playing back my file, and I don't need to have this file uploaded to a cloud. I can literally browse through every single episode that we've ever shot, every single data point that we've ever shot of our series, and I have access to all that. I mean, do you realize how often you're looking for files to play back? And here I'm able to switch to a completely different asset right here. And now I'm playing that back because I have access to everything here. So I can be anywhere in the world and have access to my RAID right here and see that anywhere and play the files back. And I don't have to upload 132 terabytes to the cloud, which would cost, I don't know, 132 terabytes would cost maybe $6,000 or $7,000 a month to keep that going. So it's really, really cost effective.
10,000, Michael.
What's that?
10,000.
10,000. Pete's on the call telling me it'd be more like $10,000 a month for 130 terabytes. So this is really awesome. I can look at this full screen, and I can even play it back high speed. So if I wanted to play back high speed, I'm now skipping through and playing this back like a high speed, which of course is kind of hard for a cloud to do. If I want to play this back at 4x, it's now scrubbing at 4x. And what's cool is clouds have a real hard time playing back at high speed, but Strada can do that because the disk is capable. You're just scrubbing the file through the disk. It's not in the cloud. So this is really cool. So we have the power here of access, and we have the power here of density, of the amount of material, just large volumes of material. So that's really exciting. So just imagine being on the road. Now, here's a small drive. Check this out. I'm going to show you what happens when you mount this. If you see right here, I only have two drives mounted, the Thunder Bay and the Lucid Link. Well, I'm going to take a little Thunderbolt cable. You can see how fast this is. I'm going to connect the Thunderbolt cable to the Sabrent Nano Rocket. And 3, 2, 1, there it is. There's Michael. And that quickly, watch this. If I click the checkbox, now Michael becomes available. And now anyone in the world has the ability to go into here and actually look at a file. And now we can look at an image right here and start to see our files. So this is everything I'm looking through on this drive. So it can be a lot of footage because we have lots of footage here. and I could start seeing the files come in, and we could start playing these files back. So I'm playing these off the Sabrent Nano Rocket. So this is a really fast way to get assets shared on a little drive. Myron asks, is Chrome Strada's preferred browser? Yes. You know, we love all the browsers. They're all great, except Safari sucks. So you got to use Chrome, and Chrome is more stable. It follows certain rules a little bit better, and it makes it easier for us to develop. We don't want to eliminate Safari, but Apple doesn't make it easy in this case. And so Apple's not good at everything, and building Safari is not their best work. So Chrome is recommended. Myron asks, is there JKL for shortcuts? We do have JKL. So if I switch to L, I can see it going now extra fast and then back to normal speed. You can see here, I'm switching the speed and then back to 1x. There is no J. K works, so I can pause with K. I can also use the space bar. F is full screen. And so if I hit F, it'll go full screen, and I'm using L to go faster. And then space bar is pause and start. So those are all things that are the same, but we can't really rewind very easily. This is very new, complicated tech. You can't rewind. However, you can go backwards frame by frame. So you can see the slate there, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. I can use the arrows, Myron, to go backwards when I want to do that, if I need to back up. So there is a reverse. And I think we're going to do shift to give you 10 frames. So if I hold shift, 13. Oh, no, that's the beginning of the clip. So I think we're going to be able to do 10 frames back as well. Good question. Myron asks, using the cloud as a go-between my team is not my preferred workflow. One of the reasons I'm fascinated by what Strada is building. Yeah, I mean, Myron, everybody has this problem. The cloud certainly can get the job done, but the upload in order to download is slow and expensive, and you have to have more permissions management, and you have to keep that file. You have to keep lots of files in the cloud because you never know if someone's going to need them. The beauty of connecting something big like a Thunderbolt RAID is that you don't care how much is on it. You have so much media on there. You don't have to worry about running out of space. But in a cloud, you're always worried about running out of space. So that's a big deal. Calvin says, can Strada agents be used in Resolve multi-user workflow? Calvin, you got to be more specific. I got to know exactly what you mean. Maybe, probably. I don't know exactly what you are thinking yet, but I'm going to show you something in a second that might help you come up with a workflow, and we can get aligned there. So remember, what I showed you a second ago is we just added the Michael drive. So this is a small drive connected. And think about this. I'm starting to stack up here. I've got my Dropbox, I can see, my Thunderbay drive, right? I got my LucidLink and my little Sabrent bus powered drive, right? So all those are starting to give me many, many, many terabytes of access. But check this out. There's one more type of drive we could try to connect. This is a camera card from a Panavision camera called the DXL. But you could do this with a Sony FX3. You could do this with a Panasonic GH. You could do this with a Canon C500 or a Red Helium or an Arri Alexa. But this is just a camera card with raw camera files on it, okay? Check this out. I've got my camera reader here. So I'm going to plug in the camera reader, and I'm going to first go to my desktop. You can see the red light is blinking here. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe you can see that. And the camera card should mount. There it is. You see this right here, B4. This is the camera card. So here we've got a bunch of media from this shoot. So we can see there's some media on this card. I can see the files here. Now, check this out. Remember, we could see here, this is the camera card. So the Strada agent sees the camera card, and now we can actually connect the camera card. Now, if you're a DIT, what I'm about to do is either really powerful or really scary. And I don't know which. So if you're a DIT, I'd love your feedback, because there are situations this could be really powerful. Here's an example. One of the reasons I love Red cameras is because they were one of the first companies to add a ProRes proxy to their RAW file. If you look here, you can see I've got these RAW files. These are the RAW files right here. These three R3Ds. And then I've got a LUT right here. This is the LUT that we use. And then there's a ProRes file. See, this is an Apple ProRes 422 file. So there's a small file that is only, in this case, 1.2 gigs. And then we've got the raw file, which is going to be 8 gigs. So the raw file is really big and the proxy file is really small. What's great about this is the proxy file is already transcoded and ready to go. So check out what Strada can do. If I go to here and I turn on the camera card, I've now turned the camera card into a cloud. Directly from the camera card, I can go into Strada. There is the card right there, B4. I can see the files, and now I can look at these files, and I'm literally playing back ProRes. This is a movie shot by Indiana Underhill. This is some great anamorphic footage. I think this is a Canon. I'm sorry, this is a Cook anamorphic. Beautiful lens right here. And then Mikey Riva directed this. And so here you can see this Steadicam shot going up some stairs. And I can actually watch that back off the card. I mean, think about this. We're playing back files off the card. Do you realize how crazy that is? This media is, you can see it blinking right here. I don't know if some of you can see that. This is, I'm probably really small. I'll stop sharing for a second. And you can see right here, this is blinking because we're actually playing this off the camera card, which is nuts. Like, this should unlock some crazy workflows because I can browse the entire card. I can go to my takes. I can see the files and we can play them back. And play them back in real time. I can hit the F key, see them play back in full screen, and check the work. This is crazy. So if you think about what is all about fast access, this is the fastest access because I have the card plugged in, I can watch the file, and I can share that file with the agency or a director offset or second unit or someone, anyone, right? Like, anyone can start to see the files as long as they're plugged in. And this proxy is already generated. Now you can see the red files here. So the question that Calvin asked, when you asked earlier, is there a way to work with this and resolve multi-user workflows? Well, here's one way. You can see the raw files there. I'll be telling you very soon, we're going to be able to give you access to these raw files so you can download them. And that could really help you resolve workflow. But you could also just download the proxy file and start working with that. So that could help in a resolve workflow as well. Because remember, the core of any problem is access. That's the root of all workflow, is access to media. And we are solving that in a way that nobody has solved it before. Nobody has made it possible to play back a camera card file from a camera across an ocean without having to download. Again, if you're a DIT, this is either empowering or scary, maybe a little bit of both, but we want to hear your feedback because I'm literally able to browse this card and just look at files and play them back. It's pretty awesome. Now, Michael asks, this is Michael from Reducation 001. Oh my goodness. That was probably 2009, 8 or 9. So that's like 15, 16 years ago. That's crazy. Here's a red card right here. So hats off to Red. Still the most underrated product out there. Okay, Kier from IG says, what codecs can you preview? Can you preview raw codecs? Kier, today, no. In fact, there's almost no way to preview raw codecs in the cloud. I don't think anybody has a raw player working in a web browser like Chrome. But Strada, we aim to be the first. We hope to be the first people to play back raw files in Chrome. We're working on that. So today, there are a lot of files that you can use. So let's check out some files that you can use. I'm going to go here and check out these codecs. Here we've got, Kier, so you can see here, this is MXF files from a Sony FX3. So if you have an FX3 or an FS7, this is the AVC media directly out of the camera. So this is log files from a Sony playing back. Now, that's not a raw file, right? Because the FX3 shoots an AVC file in an MXF format. So you can see that. But we support that. We support H.264. So here is H.264 in 4K. So we support 4K H.264. Here is H.265, right? HEVC in 4K. We're playing that back right here. So we got H.265. Here is ProRes 422. We can play back ProRes 422, ProRes 444, and look at this one, ProRes HQ, and the real big one, ProRes XQ. Watch this. This is really crazy. This is one of my favorite things because it's so big. This is a folder of all ProRes XQ files. ProRes XQ in 4K is 1,500 megabits per second. That is huge. I do not have that kind of bandwidth here. I have 30 megabits internet, but my files are 1,500 megabits. Look at the size of these files, 27 gigs, 29 gigs, 23 gigs. How long would it take you to upload a 23 gig clip? Hours, right? It would take hours, 29 gigs. But look at this. I can play back a 29 gig file and never upload it because the drive is capable of playing. The drive can keep up. So you can see, look at the size of these files, 36 gig file, 26 gig file. And you can see how fast I click on the file. I'm playing it back in Chrome and I'm able to do that across an ocean. Now, Strada will always sacrifice quality for performance. So if your bandwidth is really bad, it will pull down the quality in order to have better performance. That's just what it's going to do. But this is a really good example where you can see high quality ProRes 4K files transmitting across an ocean at almost the speed of light, 250 milliseconds to get across the ocean. It's incredible. And you can see how good the quality is. And now you're not actually moving the ProRes file. You're not having to have the bandwidth for ProRes. We're making a tiny H.265 in real time as you play back the file. And so we can play back a big 4K file because we're compressing it on the fly. So it's like making an instant transcode, but this file disappears because there is actually no file. There's no actual file being transferred. It's just a stream. That's why I can rifle through these files so quickly. So we're playing back ProRes codecs. So we also support, look at this one when you're asking about codecs. Here is, look at this one. This is Avid DNX. So this is DNX 444, 4K in MXF format, and we can play that back. So you're seeing DNX 444 playing back as well. So we support some of the Avid codecs as well. So that's really good. Really great question. Myron asks, do you have any data about when multiple team members are accessing the same project or remote hard drive, and does performance degrade for everyone, or does playback maintain real time? Well, that's really great, Myron, because that brings us to the next subject. So we have just shown files off of a RAID. We've shown it off of a bus power drive. We've shown it off the camera card. And I want to just do one more demonstration here where we actually, let's see, where is it? I'm going to look at something really long. Here is a file that is the movie National Treasure. This movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes long. Now, this is a really cool thing. You're going to love this. Because we are not uploading to the cloud, we don't have to buffer. There's not that type of buffering that happens with clouds where you skip to a new part and it buffers. Because remember, the drives have very fast buffers, like 10 milliseconds. So look what happens. I'm playing back the movie National Treasure, and if I just skip to the end, we're instantly in the credits, right? If I skip to the middle, we're in the middle. 250 milliseconds. Go back to the beginning, we're at the beginning. And I can go back to the end again. Like, this is no buffer because the drive just skips to the part that the file's at. It's really, really easy to just skip to whatever part you want to go to. This is really powerful, and this allows you to have long files. So if I have long interviews and I need to be checking out interviews here. Sometimes uploading interviews is really tedious because they're long, but look at Strada. I can look at an interview, I can skip to the end, I can go to the middle, and I can even play it back high speed if I wanted to play this back at high speed. And so this is a lot more versatile. There's a lot of benefits to cloud in this workflow. But I want to get back to what Myron asks. What happens when multiple people want to access? Well, let's go back to our keynote deck here and let's explore that. So what we need to first talk about is new features that are coming. So we've got new features coming, and I want to show you those new features and when they're going to come, and it's going to help answer your question, Myron. So the first thing is, how do we invite people? Well, today, May 13th, you cannot invite people or share your media with other people. Today, Strada Agents allows you to connect as many clouds as you want, as many drives as you want. We've done that. We've proven that, and allows you to play that back in a web browser like Chrome, and you can do that across an ocean. That's what works today. What we're announcing in 3 weeks, June 1st, is we are announcing invites and downloading. So I'm going to show you how to invite people and how to download. Here we can see Kira's MacBook Pro. She's got some directories served as an agent, and she just wants to share socials. So if she wants to share socials, she clicks here, she says invite, and now we can invite Austin and Margot. And when we invite Austin and Margot, we're giving them permission just to access the socials folder. So this is important. You're just seeing socials. So this is how you control who has access to what. Once we do that, you can see Austin is one of the people who is given permission or has been invited to this directory. So let's switch to Austin's computer. When we switch to Austin's computer, we see shared with me, Kira's MacBook Pro. So we know that Kira shared Austin. So the receiver has a record of what was shared with them. And then we can see socials, which means the directory that was shared. So if I click on that, only the socials media is visible to Austin because Kira only shared socials directory. And now if I have permission to download it, I can click download. And now we've got a download going. So there was an earlier question about Resolve workflow. Here, I think might be the Resolve, one of these powerful Resolve options. See, in a lot of Resolve workflows, you need to access local media. You need to be able to get the media local. Well, here we're demonstrating how to do a peer-to-peer transfer. Strada uses end-to-end 128-bit peer-to-peer encryption. And so now you have one computer talking to another computer, and you can pull the files. This is a totally different way of transferring files for a few reasons. One, most file transfers require someone to have a cloud in the middle. You have to upload to a cloud service, and you can't access the files till all those files are uploaded to a cloud service like Dropbox, like Google Drive, like Signiant, or WeTransfer, and then you pull the files down. The second improvement with this is that the transfer can be initiated by the receiver. If you think about it, most file transfers are initiated by the sender. The sender has to get all the files, upload them to a cloud, create a link, email the link to you. That's all initiated by the sender. But if the receiver is the person who needs it, wouldn't it be great if they could just get the files themselves? Well, with Strada, if you have an invitation to a directory that you're allowed to have, you could just get your own files. You don't need the sender who has the files to do any work. You just pull them as you want. The next benefit is you're able to actually browse everything so you can pick what you want. See, a lot of times when people are sending files, they send more files than they need, or they send the wrong files. We've all been sent the wrong file. And in this case, you can browse the files before you download anything, and then you can pick the files you want. And the last benefit, you control what comes down first. See, if I'm in a real mad rush and I'm behind schedule and I need to get 10 files, I can decide which file I want first. But when it's sent to you in a lot of transfer services, you have to wait for the whole package to download to get it. In Strada, just say, I want this file and this file. I need them now. And then these 3 files I can get a little later. These are all benefits to peer-to-peer transferring. Now, the speed of that transfer is going to depend on the slowest internet bandwidth in that transaction. So either the uploader or the downloader. One of you is going to have the slowest internet, and the file can only go that fast, but you still skip an entire extra pass of uploading to a cloud. So this is really exciting, really efficient. Okay, so now that we've done this, we have to answer Calvin's question. What happens if you, how many people can actually access this at once? Well, this is the truth. We are releasing this experience, the experience I just showed you with invites and downloading, we're releasing it in about 4 weeks, 3 weeks. So it's coming. That's why we want you to sign up for Strada today, get the agent installed, work out the bugs, help us make the product better, and then you're going to get invites and downloading very soon. And you can start inviting your collaborators and they can start pulling files off your drives. And so you got to sign up. It's free, and early adopters always have the advantage. So it's to your advantage, especially when it's free, to sign up today. Now, how many people can play these files back at the same time? That depends on what computer you're using. It depends a little bit on your internet, but remember, Strada will dynamically trade off quality for performance. So if too many people hit play and the internet is bad, it will lower the quality so that the playing continues. Kind of like a Zoom call will drop in quality in order to maintain audio sync, right? That's kind of how this works. But here's the problem. We don't know what computer you have. An M1 is going to have less streams, fewer streams at the same time. M2s will have more. M3s or an M3 Ultra. Like the best computer today, this is kind of annoying, but the best computer today is an M3 Ultra, even though Apple makes an M4. The M4 Max is probably not better than the M3 Ultra, which is to your advantage if an M5 is announced in a month. The M3 Ultra will come down in price probably. And the M3 Ultra is an amazing machine. So one way for serious people is to invest in an M3 Ultra Mac Studio. And that just becomes your agent device. And you connect all your drives to that. And you can always connect your laptop and you can interweave all the agents. You can have agents on all your machines. But the main machine, if it's on an M3 Ultra, there could be a lot of streams at the same time. We don't know how many. This is so new. We don't know yet. We're trying to get our hands on an M3 Ultra so we can start testing that. We actually don't have one here, but this is what we're trying to get. So this is really exciting. So we want to work with you to learn how many streams can work and learn how to optimize how many streams we can have at the same time. It's possible there can be more than 10 on one machine. And so if you need more at the same time, you could have 2 machines. So there's ways to scale it up. So that's pretty exciting. Calvin asks, can Strada be used to bring your own storage solution instead of a product like LucidLink for multiple Resolve users to connect to centralized media for editing or color grading? Yes. So that's where we're going. You're making a great point, Calvin. Look, the truth is, most people that use LucidLink, I'm a LucidLink user. I love this product. But most people that use LucidLink actually store files locally. They cache it. They download it. They traditionally do not edit off of the LucidLink storage. They actually localize it. Well, if you're localizing it, why are you paying for LucidLink storage? Right? It's kind of expensive. $75 a gigabyte. I'm sorry, $75 a terabyte. So the opportunity here where we're working with Strada is eventually Strada will mount on your computer just like this, and you'll have Strada as a soft mounted volume, and then you could start editing off it. But in the meantime, you could just, we are probably going to build an earlier version of that where, Calvin, we can just have you automatically download. So instead of inviting someone to a drive, you could push the files to someone's drive. So let's say there's a DIT on set, and then you have a RAID for your color correction or your editing system. The DIT could push the proxies through Strada directly to your drive. That's how it would work. And they could just do that right on the set. They're downloading, they're color correcting, they're organizing, they're transcoding to whatever flavor you want, and then they push the files to your drive. That's how we would see this happen. And then once it's on the drive, your collaborators can get the files from there. And so that's one of the ways we think this will work. And I don't think that's that far away. I think we'll be able to see that before the fall time. Maybe. I hope so. Okay. Dean Jackson on YouTube says, does Strada understand Avid OP Atom media? Yes, we can support OP Atom, but if the audio is separate, the audio is separate, right? When you render OP Atom, you've got the audio file separate, but these are actually OP Atom files. This is an OP Atom MXF right here asset. You can't see that, but this was MOS, so there was no audio pair with it, but you can absolutely play it back and use it for that. So that is one of the benefits of the tool, is that we do support OP Atom. So you could do that. Cool. Okay. So another question here is Myron says, will the files you're transferring from Cura's social folders maintain AI metadata like transcription, face detection? So Myron, the Strada Agents doesn't have any AI tools. Agents is a new way to interact with your media, and we haven't yet added any AI tools into it. It's just playing back the files as they are. So in the future, it sounds like, Myron, you've done some research on Strada, you know it from the past. In the future, we will add models to the Strada Agent experience. So you'll be able to add transcriptions, face detection, logo detection, word detection, things like that. We'll be able to do that in the future. The first model we'll probably add is transcription, because everybody can benefit from that. But today, Agents does not have any AI acceleration or AI metadata enrichment. We haven't built that yet. That is part of our, that is something we will be building in the future to work. Now, here's the benefit for you, Myron, is when we add the AI engines to Strada Agents, the processing is here. The processing is on your laptop. And what's cool about, or your computer, which means it's your computer, so it's cheaper. Right? When you process AI in the cloud, you have to pay more for cloud processing. But if you do it here, then it's free. So there's a really good financial benefit for you to be able to have this. So that's exciting. Okay. Jay Arbalo Films says, does Strada support pictures yet? Oh, Jay Arbalo Films. We're so close. We need to support stills. We don't right now, and we're sorry about that, but that's a priority. I don't think that's going to be that far away. So stills is coming. Think how great this will be for your photo directories. If you have 100,000 photos, it's really annoying to put all those in a cloud. When Strada allows you to connect all your photos and you can access them everywhere, how great is that? Because they're already on a hard drive. This is going to be so much better. And then if you think about what Myron was talking about, AI facial recognition, someday Strada will connect to your entire photo library on a drive on your desk and facial recognition, so you could search. And if I'm getting too far in the future, we'll eventually have a mobile app. So you could search. Think about this, people. This is where we're going. You could be on the Strada mobile app. You could be connected to a drive across the country, and you could do facial recognition search. You could type in a face on your phone, and it would find the photos on your hard drive at home with 100,000 photos. That's where we're going. That's media access. That's the problem. It's all about media access. And you can't just put everything in the cloud. I believed everything was supposed to go in the cloud. I believed that. I thought the cloud was the solution to every problem, but it's not. It's too expensive. My files are too big. I have too many files, and my internet's too slow. I can't make the cloud work. And unless someone dramatically lowers the price of cloud, dramatically increases the amount of bandwidth that we have in the world, and dramatically shrinks the size of files, unless those three things happen, there's no future for the cloud for video workflow. There isn't. I challenge anybody on that. Cloud video workflow is flawed, and the future is peer-to-peer. And it's a federated way of working. And we are effectively inventing that workflow now. It's early. That's why we want you all to join our product and become a part of it. This is what the product's really going to look like. On the left here, you can see Haley's MacBook Pro. You can see all the drives she is sharing directly to herself. Then at the bottom, you can see files shared with her. An entire facility SAN can be shared. Austin's MacBook Pro, he's got 2 folders and a hard drive, all shared. And so you can see everybody can have an agent, and you all invite each other to each other's drives. So you don't have to put everything on one drive. You can do that, and we will make that possible. Eventually, you'll be able to drag files from one drive to another drive. Think about that. You'll be able to do a drive transfer peer-to-peer, and you don't even have to be in the same state. Like, that's cool. That's where this is going. And it's not that far away. These are all projects that we're working on right now. We are really dead set on pioneering this peer-to-peer alternative to cloud workflow, and we're getting really far. That's why you got to sign up at strada.tech and get in the product. Remember, you sign up here. It's free at strada.tech. You install the agent. Once you install the agent, you're able to start accessing your media. Now, in terms of pricing, the pricing is tentative. We're figuring out the pricing, but we want to make a couple of things clear. One, the actual installation of an agent and connecting as many drives as you want is free. We're not going to charge you to connect drives and be able to access them through your own account. That's going to be free. Now, the second thing is we're not going to charge for people to be able to watch files. When you send a link to other people, they do not need to pay to receive files to watch them. So we don't want people to always have to figure out how many seats they have on the product. So that's important. Where you're going to start paying is when you want to do invites and you want to invite people to your drive and you want them to be able to download it. You have to pay to allow other people to be invited to your drive and then download it. That's where you pay. If you're just consuming it yourself, that's fine. But the user that downloads doesn't have to pay. You're paying for them to be able to download it. And then we're going to be adding commenting and messaging. And those are things that will be features that you'll pay for. Now, if you have a bigger team and you need like 5 agents or 10 agents or 15 agents, then you can buy those in bulk. And you might want everyone to have an agent because then you can share the media back and forth all over the place. So that's where you might see more interaction. So that's a cool way you can kind of scale this up. And you can see we're going to build projects so that you'll be able to set up and save projects. Eventually, there will be AI analytics so that you can do facial recognition and transcription and translation and things like that. I mean, when we get there, think how easy this is going to be. You're going to have files appear on your drives that are automatically transcribed automatically. And that won't cost you anything because the transcription is going to happen at your computer. So you won't have to pay per word or per minute like every other service. It's so cool. This is like so revolutionary and it's really powerful. So this is the tentative pricing. Of course, it's in your best interest to sign up early and get early access to this technology and learn from it. Now, we want to invite you to join our Discord. Pete will put the Discord invite in the chat. You should sign up for Strada. There's no cost. There's no credit card. You don't have to put in a credit card or anything like that. And then you can join our Discord and you can start giving us feedback. We need your feedback so that we can keep making the product better. And then we can add invites and we can add downloads. And when we add the invites and the downloads, we really want to get your feedback on the performance. And we need to help each other. Someone earlier asked, what is the performance on, a RAID like this or an M3 like this on 30 megabits per second? I don't know. We got to test it. We got to do it. And we got to tell each other so we can encourage each other to build build up our systems and our sets and build everything to the way that we want it to be optimized. So it's really, really important that we get you on our Discord channel so that we can learn your feedback. We also can learn how to prioritize the features we're building. People who are on the product using it and are in the Discord, you're going to get priority on your feature requests. People that keep waiting for it to get better, you can always wait for technology to get better. Get in it early. there's always benefits to being an early adopter. You learn the most, you get early access, you get preferred pricing, and you can help steer the ship. We can work together to get the technology to be right. So this is a really, really important opportunity to do that. So before I go, I just want to thank everybody for joining today. We are doing this on a lot of platforms at the same time, and we appreciate all the feedback and the commenting and the sharing of the insight. It's really great. Michael on YouTube asks, Strada will help us reduce our Adobe licenses. The price you listed is good for all those features. The Strada technology will be great. Well, thank you so much for saying that, Michael. We hope that's true. We hope this does reduce some costs in some of your cloud costs. And more importantly, we hope it increases your efficiency and your creative control, because that's really what it's all about, to increase efficiency and creative control. So you can reach us. You can always see, there's my email right there. We're available. We're here to help. If you want to see the rest of the team, there's the rest of the team. You can always reach out to us. You can find us on Discord. We want to hear your feedback, and we want to get your insight. We want to make this great, and we want to keep building it together. So thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Discord. Bye-bye.